Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging headfirst into a stack of really unique sources. We've got excerpts from Suburban Secrets and Spirited Rivalries. And this isn't just, a story. It's more like a meticulously crafted window into these hidden lives, these really intense dynamics in a community that, well, on the surface, it looks perfect. Idyllic, even.
Right. It's that classic suburban facade.
Exactly. Where appearances are everything, but underneath. Well, that's where it gets interesting. There's this whole tumultuous current of human experience churning away.
And our mission here for this deep dive, it's sort of twofold. I mean, the narrative itself is compelling, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
But our main goal is to use this rich tapestry of suburban life as a kind of dynamic classroom. We're going to unpack some incredibly useful English vocabulary and phrases.
Okay.
But, and this is key, we'll also explore the deep cultural nuances that give these expressions their actual meaning, the stuff that makes them stick in your mind.
Yeah.
It's about seeing language, not just as, isolated words on a page, but as living tools within a really vibrant context.
That's the beauty of it, isn't it? Think of this as maybe a strategic double-decker deep dive designed specifically for you, our listener. You'll not only gain some, I think, profound insights into human nature, social dynamics. Because let's be honest, we've probably all encountered a Martha Huber or a Brie Van de Kamp type somewhere.
Oh, absolutely.
In some form or another.
Right. But you'll also get practical, actionable tools to really enhance your English comprehension and communication skills.
So it's story time and language learning.
Exactly. Imagine absorbing a really captivating story while at the same time leveling up your language skills. That feels like a definite win-win to me.
Definitely.
All right, let's unpack this then. Our source, it immediately pulls us into this world just brimming with hidden truths. It even kicks off with that classic previously on opening.
Yeah, that's a great starting point.
And it's not just, a stylistic thing. It's a clever narrative device, really. It is. It instantly signals that we're stepping into an ongoing saga, right? A story where secrets aren't just side plots.
No.
They're the main engine, the driving force. It's like this invisible thread weaving through every single interaction, every perfect-looking house in this community.
Really sets the stage.
And what's fascinating about that previously on specifically is how it subtly prepares us, the audience, for, well, revelations. It's a deliberate choice by the author. They're basically telling us, without saying it directly, okay, we're about to dig underneath the surface here.
Right.
It suggests a story already in motion where hidden information is just about to bubble up. It creates a powerful tone of intrigue, of anticipation right from the get-go.
And with that feeling, that pervasive sense of hidden depths, it's only natural that our first linguistic dive centers on the language of discovery and concealment.
Makes sense.
The text is just packed with terms like secrets discovered, secrets uncovered, mysterious, trying to hide, blackmailer, secretive, and disclose.
Yeah, these are really common, important words.
And they're not just descriptive words, are they? They're verbs and adjectives that carry real weight in everyday English conversation. Let's look at a prime example from the source. Some secrets were discovered. After Mom died, I started remembering what happened to Dana.
Oh, okay.
And then almost right after, some secrets were uncovered. Could be anyone she's having an affair with.
Okay, so the contrast between discovered and uncovered right there, that's incredibly insightful for understanding nuanced English.
How so?
Well, both involve finding something unknown, obviously, but they carry slightly different implications,
Right.
Discovered often suggests finding something that was maybe just lost or overlooked or maybe not even actively hidden. Think of like an archaeologist discovering an old pot. It could be accidental.
Okay, I see that.
But uncovered, that often implies something was deliberately hidden. And now, through effort or investigation or removing some kind of barrier, it's been brought out into the open.
So more intentional.
Exactly. And the source really emphasizes this when it says, Dana has something to do with what Mary Alice was trying to hide. That phrase, trying to hide, signals active concealment.
Making uncovered feel stronger for when that truth finally emerges.
Precisely. It's a subtle, but I think quite powerful linguistic distinction. It reflects that human effort to either guard a truth or expose it.
That's a great way to put it. And when Zach describes something mysterious about Dana, it's not just saying, we don't know.
No, it's more than that.
The word mysterious sets a tone, doesn't it? A tone of deliberate puzzling, almost inviting us to speculate, to dig deeper. It suggests an enigma, something intentionally obscured,
Absolutely. Hooks you in.
which leads us to another really potent term from the source. The blackmailer is probably someone you know. Now, a blackmailer, that's a specific kind of person.
Mm-hmm. Someone who uses secrets for leverage.
Right. Someone demanding money or favors or just silence by threatening to reveal damaging information.
Yeah, compromising stuff.
And the source gives that detail about the Parcher number 17 stationery being traced locally. It highlights this chilling idea that the threat isn't some stranger.
No, it could be your milkman, pool boy, soccer mom, someone right there, part of the community fabric.
It makes it so much more unsettling.
And that's where the cultural context is just so vital. That phrase, sometimes evil drives a minivan, it perfectly captures a deeply unsettling cultural truth about American suburbia, doesn't it?
It really does.
There's this immense pressure, societal pressure, to keep up appearances, to conform to this ideal of perfect family, perfect community.
Always smiling, always perfect.
Right. And the whole concept of hidden secrets plays directly on that tension. The tension between the polished public face and the often messy, sometimes quite dark private realities.
It challenges that whole illusion of the safe, idyllic neighborhood.
Exactly. It suggests that behind every perfectly manicured lawn, there could be struggles, traumas, secrets simmering away. It's a powerful commentary on how appearances can deceive and how that fear of exposure can cause real psychological distress.
It's that tension, that underlying fear, that really drives so much of the narrative. We see it again when Mike is described as being secretive about Kendra,
Yeah, okay.
which prompts Susan to ask him to disclose the fact that your wife killed herself in the house.
Wow. That's direct.
Very. So being secretive means, habitually keeping things hidden, being private, often implying a lack of transparency or deliberate withholding.
Mm-hmm. Worded.
Guarded, whereas disclose means the opposite, to reveal, to make known something secret, often something sensitive or impactful.
So Susan's demand for disclosure directly confronts Mike's secretive nature.
Exactly. It creates this huge point of friction. It really highlights that conflict when one person wants to hide something and another is pushing for the unvarnished truth. You see the vulnerability, the power dynamics in the relationship right there.
Absolutely. It's a central theme, isn't it? This constant push and pull of secrets. And these pervasive secrets, the attempts to uncover or conceal them, they inevitably lead to some incredibly tricky social situations.
Oh, definitely.
And the characters use specific phrases, not just to communicate facts, but to navigate these delicate moments. Phrases of evasion, phrases of disclosure, stuff that's incredibly common in real conversational English.
Like what?
Well, we hear, it's hard to explain, off the record, the jig is up, and that classic challenge, what's that supposed to mean?
Okay, let's take Mike's response to Susan about Kendra. It's hard to explain.
Right. That's a classic, isn't it?
It really is. It's so versatile. I mean,
Uh-huh.
sometimes it genuinely means someone's struggling to find the words for something complex.
Where did that happen?
But often, especially in these kinds of dramatic contexts, it feels like a polite way, or maybe sometimes a dismissive way, to just avoid giving the full details.
Yeah, it can be a way to buy time.
Or even just signal subtly, I'm holding back here, I don't want to tell you. It's like a conversational shield, isn't it? Pushing back without directly saying no.
That's a good description. A shield. Then there's Edie's pointed suggestion to Paul about not disclosing the suicide. Off the record.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Off the record. Crucial phrase for understanding how sensitive information gets shared.
Absolutely. It means basically, I'm telling you this, but you can't formally attribute it to me. You can't quote me or use it officially.
So it's like sharing information in confidence, but maybe without full trust.
Exactly. It establishes a boundary. Use this information carefully. Don't burn me. It's a strategic move in a conversation involving sensitive stuff.
Very strategic. And then the big one. The jig is up. When Susan catches Edie at the cowboy bar.
Oh, yeah, that's a powerful idiom.
It really is. It means the deception is over. The game's revealed, right?
Totally. Whatever scheme or secret was going on, it's now been exposed. Done. Finished. There's this sense of inevitability, often defeat, for the person caught out. It's that moment of truth, the end of pretending.
It marks that unavoidable discovery.
Mm.
And then there's Lynette's response to Jordana after refusing the ADD meds. That frustrated, challenging, what's that supposed to mean?
Right. That's not really a question asking for clarification, is it?
No, not at all. It conveys suspicion or defiance. It's a challenge.
She's basically saying, I hear the negative implication in your words. Now say it plainly.
Exactly. I know you're hinting at something insulting. Spit it out. It's a way to force an underlying issue out into the open, often quite confrontationally.
These phrases are like little communication masterclasses. They perfectly show the subtle power dynamics happening in everyday talk.
Yeah.
People use them to all sorts of emotions, frustration, accusation, often without saying exactly what they mean. Understanding these nuances is just key to really getting English conversation.
And speaking of things hidden, this deep dive also reveals the profound weight of a lie, especially through Mike Delfino's hidden past.
Ah, Mike the plumber.
Or is he? Right. We learn Paul Young hired him to investigate Mary Alice's secrets. But then, plot twist. Mike isn't just the sweet, neighborly plumber.
No, it turns out he's a private investigator.
Leading this whole secret life parallel to his normal guy facade.
Yeah.
The irony there is just, it's so rich, so complex, he's digging into someone else's secrets while guarding his own tangled web.
It's more than just irony, though, isn't it? It raises a really important question that goes way beyond this story.
Which is?
How often do we see people in narratives or even in life who are relentlessly chasing truth but are themselves caught up in their own deceptions?
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
Mike's dual role perfectly highlights this human paradox. It's a classic narrative trick, the conflicted hero, but it also mirrors a psychological truth, I think. Often those who are keenest to expose others' vulnerabilities have significant secrets of their own to protect.
It suggests that really understanding people, maybe even ourselves, requires facing our own hidden stuff.
Pretty much. Confronting the layers of our own biases, our pasts, the things we don't want others to see.
So what does this particular insight mean for you, our listener?
Well, it's about understanding that in your real-life interactions, the language around honesty and deceit carries immense weight.
When someone says it's hard to explain, are they genuinely struggling, or are they, putting up that shield?
Right. It makes you listen differently.
The implications of keeping big secrets, how that affects communication, trust, even identity is all wrapped up in these linguistic choices. It shows how even small phrases can reveal so much about character, motive, and the slippery nature of truth itself.
Well said.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit, because the way secrets simmer just below the surface on Wisteria Lane often ignites another powerful force in these communities: competition.
Ah, yes. The rivalries.
And here's where it gets really interesting, I think. The source makes it crystal clear that competition here isn't just one thing. It means very different things to different people.
True.
From the seemingly trivial, like lawns, to the deeply significant, like careers or even relationships. It's not just about winning or losing in the usual sense.
No, it seems deeply ingrained in the suburban culture itself. Sometimes subtly, sometimes, overtly, aggressively. It becomes part of the daily fabric.
It really does.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, competition in suburbia goes way beyond sports or business rivalries, doesn't it?
Definitely.
It seeps into everything. Social standing, who has the nicest car, the best decorations, even parenting styles, and how successful your kids seem.
Yeah.
And the source illustrates this beautifully, especially with that quintessential American concept: keeping up with the Joneses. It's a fascinating way to look at social pressures.
Absolutely. Let's dive into that everyday rivalry. We see terms like competition, rivalry, keeping up with the Joneses, pale in comparison, mow down the competition, and of course, the grass is always greener.
All classics.
The source gives us that vivid picture: Brie Van de Kamp's perfect lawn versus Martha Huber's. It says no matter how carefully she trimmed or how lovingly she watered, the grass was always greener on the other side of the fence.
Peace out the Joneses. It's such a core American cultural idiom, isn't it?
It really is.
It perfectly captures that social pressure to match, or ideally, beat your neighbors and peers in terms of possessions, achievements, lifestyle, whatever.
It's rooted in consumerism, that whole American dream ideal.
Exactly. It creates this constant, often unspoken social comparison. So when Martha Huber's lawn paled in comparison to Brie's, it means it just looked inferior, less impressive, next to Brie's perfection.
It highlights how insidious that competition can be. One person's perfection makes another feel inadequate, even over a lawn.
Right. And then comes Martha Huber's moment of, dark triumph. When Victor collapses on Brie's prize hydrangeas, Martha finally gets the chance to mow down the competition.
That's such a fantastic idiom, mow down the competition. So vivid, a bit aggressive.
It really is. It means to decisively defeat your rivals, often forcefully, maybe even ruthlessly, like a lawnmower just flattening everything in its path. It suggests a desire for total dominance.
And of course, underlying it all is the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. that timeless commentary on human nature.
Hmm. That feeling that others always have it better, leading to this constant dissatisfaction with what you've got.
The cultural context here feels absolutely crucial. Suburban communities often foster this unique pressure to maintain appearances.
They really do. Your neighbors are your friends, but also silent competitors.
Yeah. It creates this dynamic where even small things, like a well-kept lawn, can become a battleground for status, for validation, for social dominance.
It underscores that idea.
Well,
It's not just what you have, but how it compares to and hopefully outshines your neighbors.
and this competitive spirit, it's not just about lawns, is it? It seeps into professional life, personal stakes, work, status, even parenting.
Oh, yeah, it's everywhere.
We get some really impactful vocabulary here.
Yeah.
Hell-bent on, killer idea, tears my ideas down, land an account, pull it off, and footing the bill.
Okay, let's break those down.
Consider that PTA mom who was hell-bent on landing her daughter a spot on the parade float. So much so that she resorted to feeding antifreeze to the homecoming committee.
Whoa. Okay, hell-bent on is a very strong phrase. It suggests extreme, almost obsessive determination.
Reckless, even.
Yeah, often without caring about consequences or ethics. A single-minded, unstoppable focus. And Lynette's killer idea for spotless scrub.
That sounds positive.
It is. It's a highly positive, informal way to describe something exceptionally good, really effective, maybe groundbreaking, an idea so brilliant it just crushes the competition.
But then we get the opposite with Tom's boss, Hennessy, who
Yeah.
always tears my ideas down.
Yeah, that phrase paints a clear picture, doesn't it? It means harsh criticism, dismantling someone's ideas, making them seem worthless or flawed.
Like deliberately undermining them.
Often, yeah. It implies destructive critique, not constructive. It just undermines confidence. And the high stakes continue with Lynette needing to pull off a formal dinner so Tom can land this account.
Yeah, land an account. Common business phrase.
Very. It means successfully securing a business deal, getting a new client, a critical win professionally, and pull it off.
That means succeed despite difficulty.
Exactly. Succeeding at something difficult, risky against the odds. It implies overcoming challenges to get the result you want.
These phrases really show the pressure, don't they? In work, in family life. Success isn't just measured, it's constantly watched, judged.
And often envied. And when Rex is footing the bill for Danielle's modeling academy, challenging Bree.
Footing the bill just means paying for it, right?
Yes, often implying taking on the entire financial responsibility. But here, it's more than just paying. It becomes a strategic move, a competitive act within the marriage.
A power play.
Pretty much. Asserting influence or control through money, disguised as parental support. A financial power play in a domestic rivalry.
And believe it or not, the competitive drama even extends into love. It manifests as this complex, sometimes subtle dating game.
Ah, the romantic rivalry.
You hear phrases like hot girl, designs on, smoking hot tension, and rooting for you to land him.
Okay.
Julie refers to Kendra as the hot girl with the suitcase. Hot girl is obviously colloquial, informal.
Maybe a bit objectifying. It can be, yeah. It's often used casually among peers, focusing on physical attractiveness, a kind of superficial label.
And Kendra makes that very clear statement. I have no designs on this man whatsoever.
Right. To have designs on someone means you have intentions towards them, often romantic, maybe manipulative, sometimes even malicious.
So Kendra's denying any scheme.
Exactly. She's trying to disarm suspicion, saying, I'm not after him, romantically or otherwise. And when Susan describes her initial connection with Mike, she calls it smoking hot tension.
That sounds intense.
It is. It's a vivid, informal phrase for intense romantic or sexual chemistry, that palpable spark. It signals immediate, strong attraction.
The whole rivalry between Susan and Edie over Mike is just undeniable. It's almost a central conflict.
Definitely.
And Edie, in that moment that later turns out to be so cunning, tells Susan, I was rooting for you to land him.
Okay, rooting for someone means supporting them, cheering them on, wishing them success, right?
Yeah. And to land him, in this context, means successfully winning his affection or commitment. Like he's a prize to be won.
But the source later reveals Edie's true Machiavellian motive. She figured it would be easier for me to steal Mike from you than her.
Ouch. Highlighting the totally overt strategic nature of her rivalry.
And that interaction perfectly captures a significant cultural aspect of dating in America, doesn't it? especially in social circles where competition for partners can be quite open or maybe more often subtly implied.
Even on
Or
friends.
perceived rivals, yeah. It shows how even personal romantic relationships can get framed as strategic contests within that whole suburban social structure. Friendship can sometimes be a very thin layer over underlying rivalries, especially when romance is involved.
Okay, so beyond the secrets and the rivalries, our deep dive also gets into the incredibly complex, often really messy web of relationships that tie these characters together.
Right. This is where the real human drama plays out.
And the language they use perfectly captures the raw intensity, the nuances of these bonds. It really shows how our words reflect our deepest personal struggles.
And this brings us to a crucial question, I think. How do these intense, often difficult personal dynamics actively shape the language people choose? And what does that language reveal about the pressures these characters are under? We're talking about relationships constantly under strain, tested by secrets, ambitions, social expectations. The vocabulary itself becomes like a barometer for that stress.
We definitely see a lot of language specifically around marriage problems and parenting challenges. The book club discussions, for example, often get into illicit affairs and domestic dramas.
Okay, illicit affairs. That specifically refers to romantic relationships that are forbidden, right? By law or custom or morality.
Yeah, it highlights the secretive, morally questionable, often scandalous nature of these things in a community that values propriety so highly.
And domestic dramas. That's broader.
Much broader. Conflicts, problems within the family or household. It's a term that perfectly captures the everyday, often simmering, struggles these characters face privately.
And Rex, in that moment of brutal honesty, tells Bree their marriage is disintegrating, and Andrew is acting out.
Disintegrating, that paints a very clear picture. Falling apart, breaking down, suggests a relationship that's slowly but surely failing.
Losing its structure. And acting out, that's a common term, especially psychologically. It describes kids' behavioral problems stemming from underlying emotional distress or issues they can't articulate.
Like expressing inner turmoil through actions.
Exactly. And Bree, always concerned with appearances, insists they take some of the responsibility for Andrew's actions.
Take some responsibility. That's key for accountability, right? Acknowledging your part in the blame, not just pointing fingers.
It is, accepting culpability, even partially. Then Rex tries to smooth all this out with Andrew.
Which means trying to fix it, resolve the conflict.
Yeah, alleviate tension, make a difficult situation less problematic, trying to mend fences, restore harmony.
And Andrew, in his rebellious phase, hopefully mentions our own little bachelor pad.
Ah, bachelor pad. That's a casual, informal, kind of jokey term for a single guy's place, isn't it?
Yeah, often implying something maybe a bit messy, party-focused, or just free from family roles.
That whole dynamic speaks volumes culturally, doesn't it? The societal expectation of the perfect family versus the messy reality of marital problems and how they impact kids.
And that American emphasis on individual responsibility, even for a kid's behavior.
Good point. And these strained relationships inevitably lead to some really difficult, raw, emotionally charged conversations. And the fallout from them?
Oh, yeah. The phrases used here are direct, revealing, often uncomfortable.
Like,
make it up to me, don't be that way, end on a bad note, proper goodbye, you've lost it, I'm not going to do it sober, and that classic, more than I needed to know.
Wow, okay, let's unpack those. John tells Gabrielle, don't even try to make it up to me by talking dirty. So, make it up to me.
Means compensate someone for a wrong, right, try to atone for a mistake, offer something in return.
Got it. Then Gabrielle pleads with John, don't be that way, about him ending the affair.
Don't be that way. That's a common plea, isn't it? Asking someone to change their negative attitude, stop being stubborn or difficult.
Yeah, it often conveys exasperation. Be reasonable. Be less difficult. A direct emotional appeal.
And John, interestingly, wants a proper goodbye for their affair. Doesn't want it to end on a bad note.
End on a bad note means finishing something, a relationship, an event, unpleasantly unresolved, leaving a bitter taste.
While a proper goodbye implies a respectful, clear conclusion, even for something secret or forbidden.
It shows that universal human need for closure, doesn't it? Even in complicated situations.
Then we get that high-stakes moment when Andrew tells Bree, okay, you've lost it, after she kicks him out.
You've lost it. That's blunt, direct, often exasperated.
Means someone's lost their sanity or their temper, their composure. Suggests they become totally irrational.
And Andrew's cynical plan. Kiss my mother's ass, and I'm not going to do it sober. That's incredibly revealing.
Kiss someone's ass. Very informal, kind of vulgar. Means flattering someone excessively, insincerely, usually to manipulate them or get something.
Right. And I'm not going to do it sober. Starkly shows a need for alcohol or something, just to cope with a deeply unpleasant, maybe humiliating or stressful situation.
Wow. And then the universally relatable party guest line when someone overshares.
Yeah.
More than I needed to know.
Ah, yes. TMI.
Exactly. Too much information. It's a humorous, maybe uncomfortable way to react when someone reveals way too much personal, explicit, or just unnecessary detail. A polite way of saying, please stop talking now.
Taken together, these phrases just brilliantly show raw emotion, manipulation attempts, coping mechanisms, the sheer difficulty of navigating these relationships. They really bring the dialogue to life.
So what does all this mean for us, linguistically speaking? It means a fantastic opportunity to really see how everyday language isn't just about conveying facts. It's the lifeblood that brings these characters and their dramas to vivid reality. Beyond the specific themes of secrets or competition, the source is just an absolute goldmine of common English expressions, idioms, colloquialisms, the stuff that makes the language so vibrant.
And what's really fascinating is how these seemingly small phrases carry so much weight. They reveal character, motivation, cultural context in often surprising ways.
They're like the glue holding authentic conversation together.
Exactly. Making the dialogue relatable, impactful, allowing us and you, the listener, to grasp not just what is said, but how and why.
Okay, let's focus now on expressions of difficulty and sheer exasperation. They really punctuate those moments of stress and challenge for the characters.
Right.
We hear Victor saying, I can't catch my breath before he collapses. Now, that can be literal struggling to breathe.
Yeah.
But it's also used metaphorically all the time, isn't it? For feeling totally overwhelmed, stressed out, mentally exhausted, like the pressure is just suffocating you.
Absolutely. Very common metaphor. Similarly, Lynette says she's hitting the wall and that the come down can be a real bitch about not getting her ADD meds.
Okay, hitting the wall, that's a vivid one. Reaching a point of extreme exhaustion, physical or mental, where you just can't go on.
Exactly. You've reached your limit. And the come down, that term originally comes from the negative effects after, say, a drug high.
Right.
But here, it's used powerfully, metaphorically, for that difficult, unpleasant crash after intense stress, huge effort, or high excitement. It's the painful return to reality.
And a real bitch. Informal, strong, maybe a bit crude, but very common way to say something is extremely difficult or frustrating.
Carries a definite emotional charge, yeah.
Then, in that moment of fierce defiance, Bree tells Rex, bring it on, after he threatens divorce.
Bring it on. That's a direct challenge.
Totally. It's saying, I'm ready. Whatever you've got, I can take it. I'm not scared. Signals readiness for a fight, a strong stance.
Unyielding. And Bree's sarcastic, almost dismissive question to Mrs. Stark. You're going to ruin his future over roughhousing.
Roughhousing. That means playful fighting, horseplay.
Yes. And Bree uses it here deliberately to downplay a much more serious assault, trying to minimize the severity of the consequences.
It's a clear example of manipulating language to deflect blame or make something seem less bad than it is.
Definitely. Understanding these phrases is crucial for expressing fatigue, defiance, or downplaying situations in natural English. They carry so much emotional and contextual weight.
For you, the listener, recognizing these signals will really deepen your understanding of native speakers' underlying meanings and intentions.
Good point.
Now, let's explore phrases of observation, speculation, and direct confrontation. They are just abundant and so expressive in this source material. We have Susan's daughter's sarcastic, what do you know, when Susan wears fur in summer. That phrase, what do you know? It's often sarcastic, isn't it?
Often, yeah. Expressing surprise, especially when someone says something obvious or unexpected from them or just out of character. It's like saying, well, look at you, or fancy that, can be playful, sometimes mocking.
Then Edie tells Susan, maybe with a mix of admiration and her usual snark, get a load of you, you look so pretty.
Get a load of you! An exclamation of surprise, admiration, maybe even disbelief sometimes. The exact meaning really depends on the tone and context.
Here it seems to genuinely emphasize Susan looking unusually good or dressed up.
Seems like it. And Julie, just sharing news quickly, says, we kissed, FYI.
FYI. For your information. Widely used acronym, right? Informal. Quick way to share info without much fuss.
Yep, direct. To the point.
Then Edie skeptical sounds almost plausible to Susan. when Susan's trying to explain Mike and Kendra are just friends.
Okay, plausible means believable, reasonable, likely to be true.
But Edie's tone, and adding almost, clearly suggests she finds Susan's explanation barely credible. Deep skepticism there.
Right, she doesn't buy it. And Susan's offended, almost shocked. Beg your pardon.
That's a polite but firm way to express offense, disbelief, or challenge what was just said, isn't it?
Definitely. It demands clarification or a retraction or an apology.
Yeah.
Signals a line has been crossed.
And in that moment of pure frustration, Edie tells Susan, "Oh my God, I just want to slap and shake you."
Wow. That's vivid, dramatic.
It really conveys that intense desire to physically, but not violently, snap someone out of a delusion or denial or just irrational thinking.
Powerful expression of deep frustration, a desperate wish for the other person to just get it. And that final exchange between Mike and Susan, pure mutual exasperation. Mike says, "Come on, Susan, give me a break." And Susan snaps back, "You give me a break."
Give me a break. Extremely common idiom. Expresses exasperation, annoyance, asks for leniency or just a moment's peace.
And the immediate mirrored repetition just underscores their shared frustration, the loop they're stuck in, the total lack of understanding between them at that moment.
These phrases, they're really the fabric of spoken English. They let speakers express this huge range of emotions: surprise, admiration, anger, frustration, often in really confrontational or sarcastic ways.
For you, the listener, mastering the nuances of these common expressions is like unlocking a code to truly understanding natural dynamic English dialogue.
Absolutely. Finally, let's look at some of the dramatic phrases that really convey high stakes and profound consequences, signaling those pivotal moments.
Okay, the big moments.
We revisit Edie's. The jig is up when Susan finds her. Again, that powerful signal. Deception revealed. Game over.
Can't escape it now.
Then that almost poetic description of Juanita after the car accident. She teetered dangerously close to the white light.
The near-death experience phrase.
Exactly. Dramatic, maybe a bit cliche, but universally understood. It implies life hanging precariously in the balance, right on the edge of death.
Very evocative. And the emotional aftermath of Lynette and Tom's big fight, they headed into a black hole.
Headed into a black hole. That means entering a period of great difficulty, despair, an unknown, potentially dangerous situation with no clear way out.
Pretty much. Implies loss of control, descent into uncertainty, a grim future. A metaphor for impending doom or crisis.
And the really powerful, almost philosophical closing narration of the source material. No victory comes without a price.
That resonates.
It really does. A profound thought emphasizing that any success, any win, personal, professional, social, inevitably costs something, requires sacrifice, has unforeseen consequences.
It suggests true triumph often demands something fundamental in return. Nothing is free.
These dramatic phrases are used so expertly throughout the source to ramp up the tension, emphasize the gravity of situations, convey significant consequences.
They give the story that sense of inescapable fate, highlight the impact of the character's actions. Understanding these adds such an invaluable layer to grasping the full emotional and thematic depth.
Wow. We have truly taken a fascinating and, I think, pretty expansive deep dive today.
We covered a lot of ground.
We navigated suburban secrets, explored intense competition, delved into complex, messy relationships, all while unpacking this treasure trove of incredibly useful English vocabulary and phrases. It's genuinely amazing how much a good story can teach us about language.
It really is. From the subtle social sting of keeping up with the Joneses to the direct challenge of bring it on, these examples show so clearly how language is way more than just conveying information.
Yeah.
It's a living system, expressing culture, raw emotion, intricate human dynamics, the hidden stuff that makes stories and real life so compelling.
For you, the listener, actively noticing and thinking about these phrases when you watch movies, read books, listen to conversations, it will undoubtedly make English feel much more vibrant, nuanced, and understandable.
That's the hope.
Absolutely. And the source leaves us with that really powerful, reflective thought, reminding us that no victory comes without a price. It's profound, and it resonates far beyond Wisteria Lane, doesn't it? It touches on universal experiences. So for you, our dedicated listener, maybe something to ponder. What price are you willing to pay for what you truly desire? And thinking about language, what words would you choose to describe that complex, often challenging journey?
A great question to leave people with. We definitely encourage you to keep exploring the English language and its rich cultural context. There's always more to discover.
Absolutely. And please join us next time on The Deep Dive for another insightful exploration into the stories that shape our understanding and the dynamic language that truly brings them to life.